one of my favorite films ever has been bestowed the ultimate privilege of being shat upon by CinemaSins.
Nice.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and this week I'm joined by fellow Bafflegabbers Ian Whittington.
It would have been amazing if I could have done
If you could have actually done it. And Daniel Cardoso!
Hello. Hello, everyone.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. That's right, Daniel's joining us this week. You're going to start to see different combinations of the Bafflegabbers, the B-team, come to the table for these conversations about the week's content through the coming weeks. But excited to have you on. How do you feel? How do you feel about coming on as a, full episode member of the B-team?
I'm absolutely terrified.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, it's cool. This is different. This is a different thing for me. So I don't really have. I don't really know how I feel. I will feel something after the show. I have like a condition like Ian, except for it just involves like I don't have feelings.
Crucially, Daniel has stumbled across one of the key parts of Behind the Sins in referencing the outtakes. So the stuff that we talked about happens after this bit of the show.
So yes,
which is amazing.
So people have no reference for what you just said. But don't feel bad. We've all done it, and we all do it often. It's on the bingo card, and people are happy that it has happened. So yes. So, but what Daniel is referring to is the fact that he doesn't have the emotional muscle that releases his emotions.
Makes him feel better.
Makes him feel better.
Mine is overactive.
And I'd like to point out that you both this is like part of the answer to your question. Both of you acknowledged right before we started that you had no idea if I knew what was going on.
Yeah. Seconds before going live.
There was no prep to this. Like
No. 10 seconds before going live, I was like, "So, you want to know anything about the show, Daniel?" It's better this way. It's more fun this way. Be assured of this. There is no set way this has to be done. We're just excited to bring people behind the curtain for the Sins universe and just kind of talk about what's on our minds. So let's get into it. We'll kick it off with the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, how we felt about the stuff we are sinning. Kick it off in Commercial Sins World with the Danae Hughes Commercial Sins. Danae wrote this one on the Liberty Mutual
Liberty.
Jim spot. I've said this many times in many different formats. I'll say it again here. I don't understand why all the best jingles are insurance companies. It is insane that every insurance company has a crazy memorable jingle.
It's almost like they have an excess of cash for doing something very fucking simple.
Something like that. Yeah. So Daniel, start us off. What did you think of the Liberty Mutual commercial and some of the stuff in there?
It is. I've seen a few commercials for Liberty Mutual, and it's just insanity to begin with. Like, there's no. They know they're selling insurance, which is probably the least boring, like the most boring thing in the world to do, and they have come up with a way of somehow tapping into like the absurdity of the whole situation, and they are not letting up with this emu.
They're sticking with it.
I mean, I hate most commercials to be honest, so they're very sin-worthy pieces of content. So. But right from the bat, when it was like, who the F took the time to custom make a shirt for a goddamn bird? Like, I was like, this video started off perfectly, because, and then it segued into like the tiny useless pockets on women's pants, which I didn't know was a thing until like my first like real girlfriend like explained it to me. I was like, you don't have pockets?
Almost nowhere.
Pants?
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
What do you do with your stuff? And that was that was the wildest thing I discovered about women, was the fact that their pants didn't have
It was top of the list.
All of the mysteries of women is the pockets that did it.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
Ian, what about you?
Well, I was in the room where it happened. I was with Danae when she was writing this, and she could not. We're lucky we don't have a 7-minute video about the clothing on the emu. Just like, Ian, we just look at this. Am I insane? Is this ridiculous? Well, yes, no, it is. It's completely ridiculous. So it's always fun to watch Danae's path of stream of consciousness go on a commercial, and the talking about like the emu that keeps running and then caused an accident inside the gym, and then they didn't have insurance, ironically, while filming the commercial is just a beautiful little story to weave. So good. And yeah, damn catchy. Just the entire day whistling that all day long.
We are farmers. Bum ba dum bum 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 bum.
It's because they have a ton of money to write good jingles. Because they don't need to spend money. Because they don't pay out for insurance unless they absolutely have to. We kind of mainly legally have to do it. And you're paying for something you may never need.
American Family Insurance.
CinemaSins.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's wild. So yeah, you guys mentioned some of the stuff I mentioned. It is I wanted to mention. It is interesting. The commercial sins experience for the writers is like this all walls are taken down experience. Like it's just like free space to really do something crazy because
very little review as well.
Yeah, because it's only a couple minutes long. You know you're going to be just having jokes and having fun. There's going to be some real stuff. Like one of the things in this one that I really liked was the savings apply at renewal takedown. This idea that you don't save anything until you renew your policy was, really good observation. So there are actual sins in them, but at the same time, for the most part, you're really just, joking around with the commercial. As we do with all our content, but when it's in a limited space like that, plus you're the only writer, which we've talked about before, which is a different experience from the other channels. But yeah, no, it was good stuff. Lots of fun. Really enjoyed that one. All right, let's move into TV sins. Halo Contact. That's right. We sent the first episode of the new Halo show. This was a Hughes Whittington script. So Danae and Ian writing on this one. So Ian, since you wrote on this one, give us a look behind the sins on checking out Halo's on
Paramount
Plus, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Is everything on Paramount? Like,
pretty much.
Paramount Plus is just like putting out all sorts of like IP content that's really interesting.
Well, we've been like, just personally, I was really pushing to do this because we've been waiting for this Halo series forever. Was it Neil Blomkamp was going to do it originally? It was going to be a movie, and then they turned that. Oh, not. It was him and Ridley Scott, wasn't it? I think they were going to be making a Halo film, and they ended up using that footage for District 9 instead. And some of the vehicles look super similar. I just remember waiting for this for like 20 years because Halo 3 came out in like 2006, and that was 2007, 2008. That kind of time would have been the perfect time to do a Halo film. The buzz was super duper high. This feels really late to me, but super interested to watch this. And going into it as a fan, the opening like 20 minutes of this, the opening 10 minutes is just, you are in the video game. It's like they got pretty much all of the fan service out of the way really, really, really quick. And I think that worked quite well to then get into an intriguing story. And they do set up a ton of mysteries, but the challenge with writing it is always how deep do you go into the nerdery and how referential do you make it while still making the jokes really, really entertaining. And I think the only one where I slipped into, I don't care how many people get this, the people that will love it, was, and it's almost a little bit spoilery, but it's when they do like the overhead of Planet Reach, and the sin is just, what a lovely looking planet. I bet it looks great in the fall, which is referencing a book. And my Halo friends that I used to game with, I sent them the video, and they were like, you bastard, you absolute bastard, you cold-hearted bastard, how could you do that? So I was like, okay, that worked. That was nice. That's the people that get it are going to get it. But I think we found a good balance of being cinny, funny, and still having... Because the people that watch this video in particular are going to be Halo fans. They're going to want that level of nerdery as well. And it was a beautiful place to put my pickle metaphor.
I'm glad you finished that sentence, Ian.
That pause was deliberate. Pickles of politics. It feels like we need politics in every single TV show and apparently podcast. But it's not. And it's the same as burgers. Like, you have to ask for your pickle to be removed from every burger. it is such a specific ingredient that is really polarizing, and yet it seems to be the standard in all burgers. We don't need it, even though I love it.
Yes, a beautiful pickle metaphor. I'm always down for that. Yeah, I don't have much experience with Halo. I quit gaming when it started to be more than just a jump button, a fire button, and left to right.
1989, I believe.
It was just like, I was like, wait, what? You're using 2 controllers for how you move? This is dumb. This is dumb.
Nope.
No one has the thumb dexterity to be able to understand what it means to use one thumb for where you look and the other for where you move. That makes no sense to me.
Well, it's wild to me. So we've genuinely had this experience with Aaron where we've played Call of Duty together.
Yeah.
And he struggle bust for half an hour.
Yeah.
We inverted the controls, which is always an option on every game, but no person uses it because it's ridiculous.
One person does.
And this man suddenly gets it, and he's just like, oh, this makes complete sense. I'm like, what is wrong with your brain? Did they put it in backwards? Why does inverting the controls work?
So in Call of Duty, one control controls... Oh, I guess it is where you're looking, but it's also where you're shooting, right? Those are the same thing.
Yeah, the left one will kind of do forward, left, and right, and then the right analog stick is moving where your arms are, essentially, so you can know where to shoot.
Right. So it's that one that controls where you're looking, arms are moving, shooting.
Correct.
That didn't make sense to my brain unless I moved it down to move the gun up and moved it up to move the gun down.
As if you're leaning backwards and then
and
pushing
we know why.
forwards.
I told you why. It's because I played like Pilot Wings and those kind of things where flying games, that is how you fly. Down to go up to go down. And that's how my brain has conceptualized the movement in that kind of movement in video games. So it's a fight simulator kind of brain thing. But yeah, no, it's not my thing. So I say all that to say I've never really played Halo. It really kind of should have hit me perfectly. Like I guess I was just out of college when Halo hit, the first one, and the Xbox happened, and I think I was just done. I think I was just done being a gamer enough to care to learn how to do that. So I haven't played a lot of Halo. I don't know a lot of the inside jokes. For that reason, and maybe some others, I didn't really enjoy this that much.
The show or the video?
The video's great.
Okay.
The video's great.
You have had to get kicked off your own show.
Yeah, guys, I just,
didn't really
didn't get this. I wouldn't have gotten the joke you mentioned.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do get, just because Halo is in the cultural consciousness so much, I do get some of the references, just not the deep. Like I got the red versus blue reference, which some people wouldn't get. Nice. But that's that's online content. So yeah. Speaking of the video, I did like the disrespecting run, disrespecting the dead by bragging about their remains, staining your hands, followed directly by disrespecting a veteran as they're disrespecting the dead by bragging about the remains, staining their hands. I thought that was really funny. Fun. And I also enjoyed the running gag about sand planets, because we've had Tatooine and Dune and that kind of thing. Book of Boba Fett. And I think one of them was, after they explained why it's a sand planet, the sin was just fine, but sand planets are still dumb.
Yeah.
It's just like the narrator is really fed up with sand planets. So,
and I felt that as soon as the first shot opened on sand, I was like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
You're like, not another one.
Not another one.
But do you think it's because we spent so much time with Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, because we did the whole damn thing.
And Mandalorian. And Obi-Wan coming soon.
Yeah.
Tatooine, man. That's the planet. How does it work? Daniel, other thoughts on Halo, your experience with the video game, the TV show, and the Sins video?
Yeah, I remember, I think I played the first 2 video games all the way through. I enjoyed doing the campaign and stuff and the multiplayer, but it's so long ago in my memory that I feel like there's a lot of references that I might have missed. But I did get a good dose of nostalgia from the visuals and just seeing that the Master Chief realized as in the real world was exciting for me. I did enjoy that. I think that the story for this episode really didn't get interesting till the end.
Yeah,
and I think that some of it is sort of from like that fan service that you said that they kind of got out of the way. And so I'm kind of interested. I haven't watched the second episode of the show yet, so I'm interested to see where it goes. I know I might be setting myself up for disappointment, but I'm prepared for that.
Welcome to TV.
Yeah, I was super surprised about the helmet coming off.
That's a great point, actually. We had a debate whether to sin that or do a sin removal because it was such a ballsy move. And we ended up sinning it just out of bitterness for how long it took in the real world and then, in the video game world, and then how quickly they did it now. But the logic I came to with that was basically they didn't have a choice. Like with Mandalorian, so many masked things out there that rely on that. There's probably a choice to not do that in this show as well.
I feel like there's like been like a long argument in terms of like films and whatnot about like lead characters and like having to show like their face. And for a long time, like movies and stuff like wouldn't do it. So I remember when the second Dread film came out, like it was really unique. Like he didn't take his helmet off the entire time. But like now, like you do have like the Mandalorian and stuff. I guess it doesn't feel as special, but it is kind of odd that there's still like that question of won't they take this helmet off? Like that there's like a weird weight behind that.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about it either. I think I would have struggled with like a sin removal or sin it as well. It's just one of those things. But I like that actor. I forget what else I've seen him in. Pablo Schreiber.
Yeah, Schreiber. Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about the show going in, so I was like, oh, it's him. Like,
I know this guy.
That was kind of a cool.
Yeah. And you never would have had that experience if they left the helmet on. See, that's the thing.
Or if they'd put it in the damn trailer like Marvel would have done.
That's right.
Marvel would have put the helmet removal in the trailer.
Of course. Yeah, totally.
There was a lot of forced like kind of conversations. I felt you definitely sinned when like he comes into the room to like use that scanning machine or whatever, and it's just like, why is this in the same room as you're keeping like your captive?
Yeah, because plot.
There was a lot of that. The big sin that I completely agree with was the big machine gun, like the mounted gun doesn't really work against the Covenant until Master Chief uses it, which when I was watching it, I was just like, oh, it's kind of foolish.
It's having your cake and eating it too. Yeah, because one of the big things from the video game is that you can do that, and it will go from an over-the-shoulder view to full-on third-person view, and you carry it around and you mow people down. But they have to have the weapon there, but it can't be used too soon, or else the Covenant don't get very far, and you don't need the Spartan.
Right.
Yeah, it could have been done better.
Yeah, like undercut itself.
Yeah, completely.
All right, let's move into Invincible. You look kind of dead is the name of the episode.
I thought you were just saying that to one of us. I forgot the title of the episode.
Yeah, I feel it.
This was a Cardoso Hughes script. So Daniel and Danae writing on this one. So Daniel, we start with the writers. What's some thoughts on the episode, the behind the scenes of thinking about it, putting it together? What was your experience like with this one?
It wasn't my favorite episode, but it felt like a sort of appropriate follow-up to the previous episode where he is essentially almost dies. And I felt like it made sense for the character to kind of take a step back, because like it kind of became real for him. I don't know how much I didn't really like we're going to go off to college for the weekend sort of departure, but it's just purely opinion. I think that is a pretty good episode. I always struggle with like not finding things wrong, but like being critical of the show just because I like it so much. His relationship is kind of with Amber. It is annoying a little bit for some reason for me. That's how I came up with the whole skippable like title card idea, just because I was like, we need something to really throw some emphasis on this on the skips for the show. So I was just trying to have a lot of fun with it. That's like where that first sin came out, where it's just like everyone from the previously on like saying something, but like sort of referencing themselves as the most important part of it.
That was great. I love that. It's such a new way to start off an episode, as in of the Sins video.
And there's like every one of these assholes in the previously on being all me, except Rex, because like he is like he is the asshole of the show, but he's actually referencing somebody else.
The irony.
I love that the Mauler twins, we did because he's just like clone, and it's sort of like it is referencing him, but it's not, because he's referencing the other one, but like they're the same person. With the college, I loved two of them, you feel gross, so you're taking a shower in a college dorm to feel cleaner. Because that one just hit close to home. So I think we some experiences with that. And then where Mark completes all his activities in the quad, and he's like, I'm going to go to this college now. And then I love the addition of just like at least vet the cafeteria. You don't know when your only choice is going to be a compressed chicken patty in a milk machine that's never been cleaned.
Yeah,
because it was a fun way to poke fun at his logic there.
I can't imagine scoping out colleges and not like eating at the cafeteria and at least understanding what your options are going to be when you eat.
Crazy.
It's like such a huge part of your life. It's amazing. Ian, what about you? Some thoughts?
Loved still love the show. It's so good. But you're right about the what's her name? What's the love interest? Amber. It's the least imaginative part of the show, and I think that's the problem. For something that's so original and doing something so different, that still manages to feel tropey and a little bit naff. And I was going to ask who did the skippable thing, because that's so fun, and I think the editors did a great job of imagining that as well. That's so fun. Skippable. In terms of the sins, the uninspired yet framed original artwork. Sigh, but brilliant at the same time. I love it. Who noticed the positions of the characters as they were running away, and that they moved in order to run into the danger so that they could run out of the danger in the next frame?
Yeah,
because it was just like an animation thing. Like they were creating like a dynamic scene, but the way they did it was like they showed like people running away, and then like people replacing the people running away. So it's like they had to run like towards the problem to then run away from the problem.
It's so great.
Yeah,
it's so funny. And just because I'm a child, going into the sewers but not texting any of your friends that this is what you're doing, like going low, bro, this place smells like burp, but not the good kind. Lol.
I had down like whose warped brain is
great.
That from? Because I have questions about the good kind of butt smell.
Sometimes it's a good place to be. You never know.
All right, I'm just saying.
I cannot claim that one for myself.
Okay.
I thought that it was hilarious, and I would have taken credit for it.
Nice.
You mentioned the original artwork. It was so funny because I had like conversations about how to pronounce that pun and that word, and I just remember I think one of them was like, should I say it this way or this way? And Daniel, I think it was you, was like, I don't even understand how you could say it that way, so say it this way. It's like, all right, fair.
That's great.
All right, yeah. I don't think it's humanly possible to say the word you think you're going to say.
Yep.
It was a deeply academic conversation about language, like we were having.
Phonics.
Yes.
How do they work?
Absolutely. Invincible turned out to be a really fun surprise for me. I've talked about it before. Really tired of like the superheroes, but we're gonna be really adult and do all the swears and the nudes.
Swears and nudes.
But actually, I don't know that there's a lot of nudity in Invincible now that I mention it. That's more the boys. But yeah, just kind of more adult content, superhero stuff. But then this show came to me in like 5 episodes, and I'm like, nope, I'm sold. This is, and it's because of the story. Like you said, the story is really interesting. To me. As far as the specific video, I really enjoyed I see your kids and raise you in overprotective parents with outdated expectations.
Nice.
So I enjoyed that. And then yes, the other one I did want to mention was the going low, bro. Smells like butt. Was really funny.
So great.
All right, let's move into CinemaSins. We'll kick it off with Spider-Man No Way Home. This was an Atkinson Whittington script.
Heck yeah.
Chris and Ian writing on Spider-Man No Way Home. Ian, what was that experience like?
Oh man, it is fun to do the big movies. It's awesome when you see the schedule and you're like, oh, I'm being entrusted with a Marvel property. So there's always the pressure of
whereas with CinemaSins, you see the schedule and you're like, oh, another Marvel property.
Kind of like, we're gonna have to do 6 hours of this. And so much fun. And there is pressure to get it right, because we know that this video is going to get some attention and it's going to be in the popular consciousness. It's going to be watched. To jump to the end, my favorite part of releasing the video is that the comments are mainly positive. Oh my goodness. Like, there's some stick about Venom that we'll get to later, but the sin removals were hotly debated. Jonathan, I don't like fun, Watkins, was just like, really, you're giving sin removals here? And I think he's still in the live chat, which you can join in on the live chat if you join our Patreon Sin Club.
That was a really great promo, Ian.
Thank you.
The members are just flooding in right now. What, for $3 a week? I
you
can do
watch
that.
us.
Yeah.
He was just like, I can't believe you want to do a sin removal here, whatever.
By the way, month, not week. $3 a month, not a week.
A month, yeah. It's worth $3 a week. Sin Club. But anyway, the sin removal was really happy. I think we had to do it where the scene where Garfield catches MJ. It is so powerful. It's so huge, and the way, like, nobody cries like Garfield. Like, he is so just in that moment. It's so great. And I just realized we're talking spoilers. Is it too...
We do. No. People know when we talk about the content in the videos.
Yeah, there's going to be spoilers.
Is like the credence. Now, if you're going to spoil something that is not on the agenda,
yes,
this is why we give timestamps. So if somebody hasn't seen Spider-Man No Way Home and they want to avoid spoilers, they can just skippable.
Yeah, indeed. But no, so it was getting deep into this one is tricky because this is Marvel playing in the multiverse, and that opens themselves up for so much sinning. And the single biggest thing that I really wanted to go after was how do they know which versions of these people they are talking to? So it makes sense for us because we've seen the Amazing Spider-Man and the original Spider-Man films, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this version of Norman Osborn, this version of Lizard Man, is the version that you've interacted with. There is no way of knowing that. We know that there are hundreds of different universes. So how do they have the same resolution? How are they going to be sent back to the same moment? It's the story itself, by definition, has to be a bit contrived in order to work. The sad bit of sinning the video is that it took the film down in my estimation. I came out of this film so hot on it and so happy, and I think so much of that was the three Spider-Man-ness of it, and how I still think that was handled really well and so much fun, but the rest of the movie didn't hold up once I started dissecting it with a fine sin comb. But yeah, I think overall we pulled together the big points. And yeah, we'll get into the Venom thing in the comments section.
Nice. Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because I'm coming from, we are recording this the day after I've seen Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I'm not going to spoil anything about Doctor Strange at all. I'm not even really going to get into my thoughts about Doctor Strange other than
the tone of his voice.
Other than you can read me by the tone of my voice. But that is in reference mostly to what I'm about to talk about, which is I don't know that it was a good idea to do the whole multiverse thing. I think it's really messing up some of the things I loved about Marvel. Continue to love, but love less now because of the multiverse thing. And what's really interesting about the Spider-Man movie is that it's not really doing multiverse stuff. It says it is, and you can take it that way, but it's really doing time travel stuff. It's like conceptually, the stuff that's happening in Spider-Man is time travel concept stuff. It's not multiverse stuff. It's about characters that we know from this story coming to a different part of this story and having a different and getting a second chance in a different experience. We've seen this kind of
what? I don't understand anything about Spider-Man all of a sudden. How is it time travel?
Because it's not foundationally according to the rules of the movie. I'm saying conceptually the things they're doing are more time travel concepts than they are multiverse concepts.
Because all the bad guys are getting pulled out of different moments in time, not where they are right now.
Correct. Yes. Now the multiverse part is the fact that like the Sony version is the multiverse, right? Like, you know, Toby is the multiverse version. Andrew is the multiverse version. Like that, I'm not saying that stuff's not there. I'm just saying the concepts they're playing with within those three characters are time travel concepts, not necessarily multiverse concepts. Whereas Doctor Strange is very much a multiverse movie. So it's interesting for me to kind of look at this and go, okay, and again, the brain buster of the fact that Doctor Strange was supposed to come before this movie.
I don't know how
and
that happens.
They flip-flopped him. Like, I want that documentary. I want to know how all that went down. But for me, I think of Spider-Man differently now after having seen Doctor Strange because of the way it's impacting my idea of how Marvel is intending to use the multiverse. But I still enjoyed the movie. I think the 3 Spider-Man stuff is amazing. I love Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming back. And I had a good time with the movie, but I think everything you guys in it is great. I love that after they're like, everybody that knew Spider-Man is being brought into this world, and then the sin is just, except for James Franco, he's unavailable. It was just so good, so good. The sin that was like, no, what you actually said wasn't then playing, but Peter, I swear I don't hear it from you. I'm pressing the button. And then the line, now not only has that ship sailed, it's also towing the funeral barge carrying Aunt May's dead remains. It's like so dark and brutal.
I try to offend Chris twice per script, and I managed it with that one, and the other one was Garfield saying, I wanted to carry on being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man because it's what Gwen would have wanted, and the sin being, I think what you actually would have wanted was a shot at that scholarship to Oxford.
Yeah.
For some reason that got him.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The other one that I know Ian wrote this one. By saying it, we can make it happen with no practice whatsoever. It's how the New York Mets won in 1986.
Yeah, that was me. Sports ball.
Totally a sports ball sin. It has to be Ian. No, I just love that for the reference. Do Ned and MJ constantly ask themselves why they were at the Statue of Liberty the night 3 Spider-Men attacked villains from different universes?
It's insane.
We know it still happened because J. Jonah Jameson was yelling about it earlier. Speaking of which, does anybody ask themselves why 3 Spider-Men were at the Statue of Liberty? You cannot tell me that you have wrestled through the consequences and ramifications of Spider-Man being Peter Parker, being erased from everybody's memory. You cannot tell me that makes sense.
No.
You can tell me. I don't believe you.
No.
I don't believe you've actually thought through all the ramifications.
Happy, Aunt May, Tony, Endgame, nothing
There's no
works
possible
now.
way the idea that can be split out into its own category and not how it's interconnected into so many different memories and things. You cannot pull that out and erase it. It's impossible. And it's, to me, the weakest part plot-wise of the movie, or I should say the most convenient part plot-wise of the movie, is asking us to suspend our disbelief for that. I think that is to me, the main thing in a movie about multiverses.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's the bit where my suspension cannot be.
That's the bit where I'm just like, no.
My disbelief cannot be suspended.
Yeah. I don't care what spell that is. It's not about a spell. It's about the fact that the actual real-life consequences you want are impossible, theoretically and logically. So, yeah. I like what they're doing with it. I like thematically where it goes, but it's just not possible.
Absolutely get what you're saying about that, and I feel like whenever stuff like that happens, when people's interactions with reality are ripped away from them, and science fiction and whatnot, there's usually psychological consequences. I don't know if they're going to go there, but that would be kind of interesting for a Spider-Man arc where people have problems accepting reality because a part of it has been erased from their minds, and there's sort of a gap. There's a dark, psychological thriller in there somewhere. Welcome
to being the public, watching Marvel movies now. That's essentially what we are going to be going through because nothing will matter.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Ian, some thoughts. I'm sorry, Daniel, some thoughts.
I'll give you my thoughts again if you want.
No.
Let's keep going. I thought it was a good, fun, entertaining movie. I enjoyed the performances a lot. I really enjoyed all the Spider-Men. I enjoyed the villains. They felt like they brought it. Didn't really feel like anyone kind of phoned in their performance.
Defoe was great in particular.
Yeah, I think he came to play.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah. He loves it.
No, he was incredible.
There was sort of this believableness to him. Even though you feel like there's a turn or something coming, but it's there's this sort of genuineness in his eyes and the way he's talking. It's I know exactly who this character is, and I'm full. The biggest thing I didn't like was just how the film used Doctor Strange. It almost felt like Doctor Strange was a MacGuffin. Is only there to cause things to happen, and what his character is experiencing doesn't seem to matter. I feel like the franchise has kind of done that to Doctor Strange a little bit throughout the movies. It was almost like a tonal thing, like with him, where it's like I don't understand where he's coming from anymore, considering all the experiences that happened. He's had, yeah. So I couldn't get into that because I was just like, what is the point of you right now, Doctor Strange?
He kicks it off, disappears, and then resolves it, and it's inexplicable that he has to disappear. Like, how is he trapped in wherever he's trapped for the entire movie? It's baffling to me.
Yeah,
I mean, there's an easy Doctor Strange Spider-Man team up that like is like right there, but like they just don't do it. It's like, oh no, Spider-Man, you need to solve this. I'm going to go. I don't know if he was watching a movie or microwaving,
hanging out in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, well, yeah. So those are my issues. I feel like there's a lot of holes in my opinion there. So I think people will tear that apart. But that's how I feel.
Again, it could be a result of switching the order of the movies too. My guess is, especially after having seen Doctor Strange last night, that he was a much more active participant in what happens in this movie in bringing people together. But because the whole multiverse angle in his life hasn't happened yet, that we'll see in the Doctor Strange movie, he can't have that knowledge and understanding that I think he was supposed to have in this movie. And so he becomes more of just like almost an aside to something that's just happening instead of being purposeful.
And in that vein, the one of the sins I liked was just like all the ones where he was like casting the spell. One was just like, okay, but you can stop casting the spell and have a conversation first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can.
He was just like, no, I'm doing this, and I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I don't care what's happening. And then there's the electronic. You said the fabricator is literally an electronic superhero, and that was so true. I thought that was super funny.
This thing just appears, and we'll probably never see the damn thing again.
All right, I think that'll wrap us up with Spider-Man: No Way Home. Great work, great script.
Thank you, sir.
Fun stuff. Let's move on to the Peanuts movie. This is a Cardoso Hughes script. So Daniel and Danae writing on this one. Daniel, you were one of the writers, so kick us off. Some thoughts on the Peanuts movie and your experience doing the video and some of the stuff you like.
Yeah, I thought it hit all the Charlie Brown beats. Like it was very much a true to form Charlie Brown movie. I thought the animation was really good. Like they went from a 2D world into this like 3D world. It managed to sort of keep itself and not become something strange and bizarre like it could have been. I think that being said, I tired quickly of Charlie Brown as a character. his woe is me attitude gets a bit tiresome, and then like the B plot of Snoopy's war novel, I didn't like it just because it just it just turned a war book into like a war story into a romance, which I know it's Peanuts, and this isn't going to be like Dunkirk, but
it could have been.
I wanted it to go full Dunkirk.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. So it was a fun movie a fun animated film to watch, and it wasn't terrible to look at over and over again. I completely forgot what the lead-in was. Oh, it was like they did like what's it called? An assembly for Charlie Brown, or they came with a loudspeaker, and the sin is just like, oh, just fuck off with that nonsense. What school has ever been that excited about a child getting any score on a standardized test?
Yeah.
All the kids are super excited about it.
Yeah.
And then biggest issue that it was an issue I had with the film, but I think that this was great in Danae wrote this one, and is just like, the reality is that Charlie Brown should already be feeling pretty great for having a long-standing friendship with a kid like Linus. So many characters seem to have conditional love for Chuck, but Linus is there at every turn, and the movie should amplify that relationship rather than the hollow pursuit of finding your value in a crush that has only spoken a few words to you. And I just thought that like it reminded me that this is like a kid's movie, and there should be some like there's supposed to be a lesson in there. And like that's like the biggest lesson that they could have put into the movie, and they just didn't put it in. And yeah, so that upset me a little bit. And I was glad that Danae pointed out, because I kind of missed it, because as an adult, like I'm just hating on Charlie Brown a little bit for from my from my perspective. But it's like when you bring it back to like it being a kids movie, like what are we teaching them?
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Ian, some thoughts?
So this is an area of pop culture that just flew by me. Never really had a connection to Charlie Brown, Snoopy, other than seeing it on merchandise and stuff. I don't think I've watched a single second since this, other than the Sins video. Is it always this kind of like just morally ambiguous and focusing on finding a girl and romance? Like, I thought the idea with cartoon strips like this is to make a bit of a commentary on something, but this movie seems like lowest common denominator almost.
No, the commentary of the Peanuts has always been for Charles Schulz. I think the nostalgia of childhood and the things we were focused on in childhood and those emotions. So for him, there's a real thing of the Charlie Brown character being a sad sack, just being like I think he identifies most with Charlie Brown, just going through childhood and feeling like you failed at everything.
Yeah.
You didn't understand relationships. You didn't know how they worked. You didn't, everybody else, other people seem to have it together in different ways. And you just were so I think that's kind of his perspective. The Snoopy angle of everything was like this different world he would go into where it would be more like it was almost the when he wanted to do more. This is not how I mean it, but the like adult side of things, he would kind of go into the Snoopy and Woodstock thing, which was really interesting because adults are not a part of this world. They literally do not.
Yeah, they just go gobble gobble gobble.
Right, exactly. Because as a child, that's kind of who adults were. They were the gobble the garble garbles, of your life. So yeah, it's really, that's where it comes from. So I think that is here as much as it is in the comics and the TV specials and those kind of things. So
I did think it looked gorgeous though. The animation is really beautiful and they do play with it a lot and go into 2-dimensional and scribbles and whatnot. And yeah, it's a really pretty movie to watch. On the difficulty scale, Daniel, do you prefer sinning animation or do you find that more difficult because it's so abstract? What's your opinion on the different formats of movies?
I've honestly never thought of it. I don't find it super difficult. Because you just focus on like the internal logic of like the world
exactly
a bit more. And there's less of that temptation to like to worry a little bit like about like realism at all. Like there's no, you don't like, this is kind of absurd that this character does it, but it's like it's all drawing, so the whole thing's a bit absurd. So I don't think that. I think that it actually puts things in more of a box, so it's like you kind of can pinpoint things a little bit easier actually. I think.
Yeah, that's it. I think kind of similarly about it. It's like I remember sitting in the Suicide Squad movie and there's some of the they survive this that you have to ignore, and then there's some that still stands true because, like, yeah, you chose to draw them surviving that ridiculous thing, though. In terms of the sins, I love smashing the alarm clocks. Like, sure, this works, but only once. Like, why have it if you're going to destroy it the next morning? Woodstock is one of the founding members of the Prometheus School of flapping away from things. Is just so adorable as he's trying to escape the Red Baron. And is even more sinful on a 3-dimensional arena where you can go up and down as well as left to right.
Yep.
It's amazing. And of course, you bake cupcakes, his words that hard. Just super trolly. I love it.
I really love this movie. In fact, I was just looking at my 2015 rankings, and I had this movie 16 on the year.
Oh, wow.
My 16th favorite movie of the year. Just behind The Big Short and just ahead of Ant-Man. So it is one of my favorites. I think it is a little bit of the Paddington effect too. There's something so interestingly wholesome about it that it's just like I give into kind of that nostalgia of childhood thing a little bit. I know these characters through the TV specials mainly growing up, and so like I have a deep connection to them. One of my favorite sinning experiences is sinning the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown special. It was really fun and enjoyed that quite a bit. But yeah, so I really enjoy the Peanuts universe and enjoyed what you guys did with it. I thought it was really fun. can just feel the hatred of Owl City's fireflies in that one sin from today.
Yeah, and that was a much longer sin to begin with, but she cut it down.
I love it. I love that we use this as catharsis when it's appropriate. So yeah, I could feel that going in there. I really enjoyed that finally Schroeder's piano it finally gets sinned. Like, there's no way that Schroeder's piano sounds that good. Something I've thought before. I did put Schroeder in a box one time, and I didn't know if he was playing the piano or not. That would be
that'll get you a dinger.
That would be Schroeder. So yes, I did enjoy that one. I never want to know the pain of Peanuts' snow. Was hilarious to me. The idea that the snow is doing these traumatic things, and I think there was something in there about one of the characters dying because they got thrown into the snow later on, which made me laugh quite a bit. Wearing sandals that aren't sized correctly, which leaves the little toe beans hanging off the front.
Adorable.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Well done, guys. Very well done. All right, let's move into the comment section.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're each going to pick a comment from last week's content from the various places that you reach out. Discord, YouTube, Reddit, etc. Ian, what is your comment for the week?
So this is from the Peanuts movie, from Levi Ackerman. Absolutely has nothing to do with CinemaSins or anything. Just a person that I feel a kindred spirit with. I fell asleep during this movie in theaters. It's not like it was boring. It was just that I got less than 2 hours of sleep, and my dad wanted someone to go with my sister when she saw it. I feel your pain, my dude. Yeah. Sometimes it has no bearing on the quality of the movie. Sometimes y'all just sleepy. Yeah,
it's true. I'll go next. I did want to mention there was somebody in the comments asking about the delivery of the hammer sin.
Interesting.
And that is an inside joke, and an inside joke that's becoming more of an outside joke. It comes from a character that Danae plays in Wild RP, which is an online role-playing experience where she plays a character, and that character bludgeoned a small animal with a hammer
accidentally.
Sure, accidentally. I know that character. Once you know that character, you begin to wonder. But anyways, that is a take on that, if you're wondering where that came from. And I'd highly recommend checking out Danae's Wild RP streams on Twitch.
Funny stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
It'll change your perspective.
But my other comment was from somebody who just, I don't even remember what this was from. It was a discussion on blades. I think it was Invincible was it from. But just going into depth about the difference between dull and sharp blades. Dull versus sharp relating to the ability to repair the wound is important. Sharp blades cut cleanly, making it easier to stitch up and making the wound itself more susceptible to healing with less scar tissue. A dull blade tends to tear more than cut, leaving a more ragged wound that won't heal as quickly. And then the responses to that comment, just detailing other types of blades that make it impossible to repair and heal. Wow. And just a real darkness involved in knowing that information. I felt a kindred spirit as someone has to research stuff like that when we do our sins. So I wanted to mention that. Daniel, what about you?
This one from the Peanuts video. Do we usually mention who?
You can. If it's easily pronounceable.
It's from Latoya Cheetah. And I love this comment just because it was so enthusiastic and appreciative. And it's going to do my best to fully express the comment. And it just starts off with, one of my favorite films ever has been bestowed the ultimate privilege of being shat upon by CinemaSins.
Nice.
And I just love that beginning. And it says, fun fact, my twin sister and I were born on the anniversary of the first ever published Penis comic strip, October 2nd, 1950. We were born October 2nd, 2001. We are huge Peanut fans and our most favorite fandom ever. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's awesome. That's fun.
It was just, sometimes you, especially with the animated films, I'm not trying to hurt anyone
Yes.
when I'm saying it.
Exactly.
And it was nice to hear that someone just appreciates what we bring to the table.
Taking it in the spirit that it's intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move into nitpicking the nitpickers of the nitpickers.
But we wouldn't want to nitpick, right, Danny?
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more.
Actually,
Oops. What do you mean, oops?
Missed it by that much.
am I just going to nitpick everyone until they leave me?
And we'll take a look at some actuallys from the comments, and we decide together if the commenter was green, yellow, or red. Ian, bring it. What are some of the commenters' problems with our problems?
So this, I think, is an easy green, as in it is correct. We were wrong. We seen Tom Hardy being in, or Venom being in No Way Home in the post-credits scene, and we're like, well, how does he know? Because his version doesn't know Spider-Man. Now, in the post-credits scene for Venom, the Venom explains that because of symbionts and nonsense, that every Venom knows that every Spider-Man is Peter Parker, which... Yeah, we made a boo-boo, but I've got two little defenses to it. One of
Go for it.
Just a little bit.
Can't let it go.
No, one of them is, I guess, technically you shouldn't have pulled all of the Venoms in, and not necessarily all of the Topher Graces and the Tom Hardys and whatnot, maybe. Right. My second defense is Chris wrote that sin.
Wow, the very first throw him under the bus.
He did it. I could have caught it, but he's my boss.
Yeah, no, what Ian's saying is I totally agree. I knew it. I tried to explain it, but at the end of the day, Chris,
he's going to put us in.
He has final control.
He's going to put us in.
Listen, guys, I tried. I really, really tried. What else?
That's an easy one. The next one I've got is probably a little bit more debate, and I'm glad Daniel's here for it. It's from Invincible, and it's criticizing Mr. Invincible for the bruises that are on his face, even though the stomach on his stomach
I
want to
talk about this one.
Fascinating. And the commenter says, I will say that he actually heals fast. Bruises are just blood trapped under the surface of the skin. It is completely possible that he is 100% healed and still has bruises. I guess that works on your definition of healed, because bruises disappear over time. Is that a process that would be accelerated as well? And I guess that's, if injuries are linked to metabolism, does he metabolize injuries quicker? Would the stomach still heal quicker and the bruises still be left over? Which is, it's an interesting point to bring up. I hadn't thought of it.
Daniel, what do you think?
I'm not a doctor. So that.
I just pretend to write like one.
I didn't write that one, actually, so I'm gonna throw Danae under the bus on that.
Nice, Danae wrote it.
Anyway, but I agree with this because I think that there is, well, at least within the logic of all of these like superheroes and the way their powers and their healing and whatnot, I feel like there is like a temporal component to that. So it's sort of like speeding up the timeline of healing. So I feel like the reduction of a bruise should probably follow the same arc as you or I experiencing an injury. So like I feel like the timelines of everything, including the bruising, should be quicker. It should be faster.
Mm-hmm. I agree with.
I think so as well.
With Daniel, I may go just barely yellow on this, but mostly red. I think the sin stands. Bruising is absolutely part of the healing process, even though it is, technically, remnants. If I, as a normal person, am injured and my bruising takes, 2 weeks to go away, then it should take whatever percentage less for it to go away for somebody whose body is able to take care of it immediately. Otherwise, you start getting into the specifics of healing and what that means, and you could start to talk about all sorts of stuff that aren't specifically healing, but that have to change in the body to recover. Yeah, right.
Like hair growth or nail growth or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you could talk about having a head cold or something like that, and how that's different than actually healing when you're, dealing with, leftover phlegm or whatever it might be in the system. So it's just my understanding of healing powers is that it speeds up that process so much that the body does not have to feel the ramifications of it. Now, invincibility is different than healing too. So those are two separate possibilities. In something I think the show has never really helped us understand is he's not really invincible, But they call him invincible, but if he were invincible, he wouldn't bruise at all.
No, he wouldn't. They wouldn't be worried about operating on him because he can't die.
Right. So, yeah. So I do often wonder about if he's not invincible, maybe his superpower is just super healing, super fast healing, and that's fine, and just call him invincible because of that. But if that's the case, then there's all sorts of things you could do that can't be healed to him.
Yeah.
It seems like it's more than that. It seems like he's withstanding force, not just healing quickly. So yeah, I think those things could be clearer about that character in general.
Nice. That was all for this week.
All right. There you go. We're going to do a new segment for our final segment this week. This one is called Use the Boss.
Who's in charge here? You're not the boss of me now.
I'm in charge.
You're the boss.
You think you can do these things, but you can't, Nemo!
You're a control freak.
Hey, who put you in charge?
You're the boss.
It's your turn to tell us what to do. Got something you want us to do or try? Email your idea to bts@cinemasins.com and see if we're dumb enough to do it. Spoiler alert, we are. So this Use the Boss, by the way, I workshopped in my brain a couple different puns for this. One that I almost went was Hugo Boss instead of Hugo Hugo Boss. So if we like that better, we can go with Hugo Boss.
I mean, don't start sending me cologne and stuff.
So yes, Ian is our guinea pig this week. The idea this week comes from Nick, who says that Ian needs to try Peeps. Now, other members of the BTS team have encouraged him never to try a Peep because they are that terrible. But yes, so he was sent a box of Peeps.
I have been sent a box of Peeps. Now, can you explain what Peeps are for the English among us?
Sure.
While I unbox them.
Peeps are
I don't know what they are either.
Or some sort.
Daniel doesn't know.
I know what I know they exist. I don't know.
Nobody knows what they are.
Oh, right. Oh.
Nobody understands Peeps.
Yeah.
So Peeps are some sort of marshmallow-based Easter candy that are covered in some sort of, I'm going to say, rust, sand, and maybe a little sugar.
Insane. Let's read the instructions.
No. It's
instructions. Ingredients.
So yeah, Ian, describe for the listeners. I know people who are watching us, our members who are watching can see, but describe for the listeners what you've been sent.
Okay, so I've been sent 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 Peeps. I have 5 boxes of Peeps. I have green, yellow, purple-ish, blue, and pink.
And I don't think they're different flavors. I just think they're different colors. I don't think.
That's amazing.
I mean, there are flavored Peeps, but I don't see any flavors listed on those.
No, so they all look like chicks. Soft, yummy Peeps brand marshmallow chicks are perfect for Easter baskets. The instructions just say do not consume.
It's like the Q-tip. It's like, don't put this in your ear.
If you can feel brain, don't. Exactly. Sugar, corn syrup, gelatin contains less than 0.5% of the following: potassium sorbate, natural flavors, tartrazine, blue number 1, yellow number 5. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. And carnauba wax. But luckily they're gluten free. Thank goodness.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
100.
Is that what you do with we wax a car?
Well, now I don't want to eat this. Now, interestingly, there are 10 Peeps, and it says, 2.5 servings per container, 110 calories per 2.5 chicks. Which is right. What color am I trying?
Well, yellow is the classic, so maybe we should do a classic Peep.
Okay.
And I will say, I will just repeat my theory that if your candy has to be tied to a holiday, you have a bad candy.
Oh,
because if
super seasonal.
If your candy is seasonal, it's not good enough that people want it year round. And so that is, I believe, the case with Peeps as well. So Ian is ready to.
I've opened the box. They moved as one. Oh my goodness, they feel ridiculous.
Yes, so
that is some right. Okay, the craftsmanship is very poor. Like that is a chick that has been through a blender and has been driven into a wall. This is like the eyes aren't even on properly. I shall now consume.
Okay, Ian has he has consumed an entire Peep.
Wait, I'm not supposed to?
Well, I mean, people generally take a bite, but yeah, the entire Peep is fine. What are you experiencing?
So so marshmallowy.
It's very much a marshmallow, yes.
Okay, so it's very grainy as well. I can feel it in my teeth.
Yes, it's been dipped in Tatooine.
Yeah. I am salivating so much because my mouth is like, we got to process this really quickly before it gets to the stomach. We need to have this dissolved. Very sugary. Our closest equivalent would be something called a flump.
A flump,
which is a brand of marshmallow. Very similar to flumps, but less sugary.
Flumps are less sugary, or Peeps?
Flumps are less sugary. They don't have that grainy thing on the outside. I think I like it.
Okay.
I feel bad about what's in my body right now. Like, it feels very unnatural. I'm going to try a different flavor to see if they're actually...
not gonna burp.
Imagine if this is the thing that made me burp. This is
and
what cured
another reference to the outtakes.
Oh, yeah. Man, if that cured my RCPD. Okay, we're going to crack open the green ones because that's the next most offensive color.
They are not different flavors. I can't imagine it's a different flavor.
Ugh. Okay. Oh, they're so green. They're so green. Okay.
We messed this up. Were we supposed to ask him how's the peeping? Was that?
Oh, yes. Yes. That was the question. Yes.
How's the peeping? Okay, let's go.
All right. Same, right?
I think they taste the same.
Yes.
I think I need to lick another one. I mean, it would only be if the food coloring itself tastes different, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because this has yellow number 5 and blue number 1.
Nick in the live chat says, who, by the way, thank you, Nick, I believe Nick's the one who sent this to us.
He did indeed.
Nick says, I once entered a Peeps eating contest.
No.
I ate one shy of a whole pack in 60 seconds.
I could do that.
I
could do that.
You could eat. Oh, this use the boss is just getting even more interesting. You're gonna eat a pack of 10. Was it a pack of 10? Nick, please let us know that it was a pack of 10, so that you have to eat 9 in 60 seconds or 10 in 60 seconds to beat Nick. But I just want to make sure it was 10. And we need
10.
And we need to know, did you have to open the package as part of the 60 seconds as well? So that's something we need to know. Or were they like all already out of the package and in front of you? And did they have to all be, I'm imagining, swallowed? They have to be completely
you can't still
swallowed.
be chewing them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I need the answers to those questions, Nick, before I bring up the 60-second timer. And we will see if, but they were pre-opened.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Stuck together or separated? Hold on. Stuck together or separated? Need to know the answer for that. Stuck together or separated?
I don't know that matters.
Well, I mean, it kind of does.
You think it's going to be quicker if it's separated? They were stuck together. Okay.
All right. Let me pull up a timer. Hold on.
I'm going to be so unwell.
That's part of the fun. So let's do 1 minute. Ready, set, go. All right, the minute has started. Sin is going for the purples. We are doing the purples. If you would like to see this in action, you need to become a member of the Sin Club at patreon.com/CinemaSins. He is through 2, and we are already 15 seconds in. He is working on his 3rd now. He's got 3 in his mouth.
No,
he's got 7 left to go. He just put 5. He's now halfway if he swallows what's in his mouth. And he has 25 seconds left. He's trying to get to 9 to tie and 10 to win, and he's still working on 5. He is still working on 5. He has now put his hand to his head. He is questioning his life and his life choices that led up to this moment. He has decided he doesn't know who his hand is shaking. He doesn't know who he is anymore. I believe he may be losing consciousness. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, there you go.
I was arrogant. I was an arrogant man. I regret that so much. It is incredible how big a number 10 is. It is such a huge number when you have... maybe my tactics were wrong. Like I put...
Do you want to try again?
No! I put so many in my mouth to begin with.
Nick says apology accepted.
Well done, Nick. Well done, man. Like,
I think maybe you should have put more in your mouth. I think the trick is to stuff them all in there
and dissolve them all at once.
and then have 60 seconds to get them down. Right?
I could probably do that.
They'll all fit, I think. That's what Nick says. You got to shove like 5 in your mouth at once. Like the more you can get in your mouth, the better. I think is the life lesson in general. The more you can get in your mouth.
That is the closest I've felt to being on Jackass.
True. This is true.
I have also noticed that at the bottom of the box, because I hadn't opened the box entirely, there is a Star Trek friendship necklace in the bottom of the box.
Look at that.
Nick, I could cry. You are a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful individual. Thank you for your kindness.
Well, there you go. If you have something that you would like to get on the You Go Boss segment, or use the boss if you prefer, just email it to us, bts@cinemasins.com. Any idea of what you would want us to do for a segment, some fun that we can have together. And if you've got a part of it that you want to send us, like something you want us to try, like for instance, Peeps or whatever, just pay attention to the address in the close. So, Ian, how are we feeling? You have eaten 7 Peeps total. 5 of them happened over the course of the last minute. Ian's consciousness has left the room. So, Daniel, I'd like some thoughts. I'd like some thoughts from you, Daniel, about that experience.
So you watch him go into shock. I mean, if that's gonna be a thing on this podcast, I probably won't come back.
That's
how I feel about that.
I'm sweating.
I mean, if it's only if they keep sending these to Ian, I'm fine.
Oh, keep sending me things to eat. Yeah, great.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sugary. I feel like it's still in my throat. I don't think I've properly digested that.
I don't even remember. I haven't had one of those things in like 2 decades.
Yeah, you're gonna get the peep poops.
No!
Yeah,
my teeth hurt.
Yeah, they don't digest. They just work their. They just slide their way through.
Have the 2 of you ever competed in any other food eating contests?
Crackers. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some food eating stuff. I do pretty well with that stuff. I think mainly because I have a giant head. And so I can stuff a lot of stuff in my gullet, but yeah, I've done like pie eating, like at fairs and stuff, and yeah.
To me, like it seems like a good way to just destroy something that you may have liked previously.
Oh, for sure.
To eat as much of it as possible as you can.
Well, good, because you didn't need to enjoy Peeps. They are not great.
That's true.
No, they're really not. They're horrible.
There you go.
The risk to benefit ratio there is so low. Like it's not worth it.
Fair enough. We have learned the ROI on ingesting Peeps. That's going to do it for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything you want to send us, mail it to P.O. Box 881 Republic, Missouri 65738. You can hang out with some of us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. He is at Wits End.
DENESAYS.
No, that is not your Twitter.
I hate that you only let me spell out my name when Danae isn't here.
It's just because we need that part of the flow.
WHITTSINNED.
There you go. So for Daniel Cardoso, Ian Whittington, a clump of digested Peeps, and myself, we will see you next week.
Happy Ian's Awareness RCPD Day.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com and be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Liberty, liberty, da, 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 da.
You didn't want to say liberty 2 more times?
No, I didn't. I like the dumbs. Liberty.
There you go. Just combine those and you have a full one. That's amazing. Hold on. You're coming through speakers for some reason, not my headphones.
Oh, I changed your output. Sorry.
Ian.
It is 2 buttons.
Why?
We had to listen to the trailer for Strange New Season 3 of Picard.
That will come through the headphones.
But I didn't want to give her a headphone. I wanted to play it.
All right. Here's the lesson.
I'm sorry.
When you move something, put it back.
Put it back. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So I can remove people from the stream as well, so they don't sass.
I can remove people from their jobs, so don't sass.
Can you?
Yeah, sure can.
Oh, no. Oh, no. So, Daniel, be careful.
And when I say jobs, I mean jobs within the job. I don't mean I can literally fire you. I just mean...
Wait. You can stop me from doing BTS?
Mm-hmm. I sure can.
Oh, but I won't get Peeps.
It's a pretty strong political power move right there when you don't eliminate someone from their position, but like you just make their position useless.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it really is. We haven't fired you. We just made what you do not needed anymore.
Exactly. Bring your camera's angle down a little bit so that you're,
We need 20% more nipple. There we go.
Very nice. Very nice. Just 20%.
Mm-hmm.
These are the requirements. This is what you learn when you go to video streaming school.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is the percentage of nipple that needs to be in the frame. Yes.
Very much like the rule of thirds, but this is the rule of nips.
You maybe could have thought that one through a little bit further.
Nipple?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a third nipple, Ian? Is that what you're telling me?
It's a very personal question. No.
He does not.
Not anymore.
He does not have the triple nipple.
I do not have a nubbin.
I think everything is ready.
Gladiators! Ready! Did you have gladiators over here?
Yes.
But it was probably American gladiators.
It was called, indeed, was called American Gladiators.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, we just called it the gladiators. Oh, gladiators. I don't think there was a "the" on it.
It was probably based on American Gladiators, right?
What year did yours come out? See who came first.
No, I just assume if it's just called Gladiators that they took American Gladiators and were like, well, we can't call it American Gladiators.
Because I assumed the reverse, that you couldn't call it gladiators, you have to call it American Gladiators, because y'all need to distinguish things. Gladiators. We had Storm.
Yeah, we definitely had Storm.
Oh, you even stole our names.
Possibly.
Wolf.
Yep.
Wolf was my favorite.
I met Wolf, actually.
Yeah, but your wolf or my wolf?
The Wolf. So yeah, 1989 was America, 1992 was UK. So
we conceptualized it first, let you try it,
sure,
and then we took it back when we knew it was a success.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good.
You've got The Office. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's an entirely different show.
And Big Brother. Big Brother was you.
No, that's us. That's us. We had that. Democracy. We had that one first too.
Colonialism.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Definitely started that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you have democracy first?
Compared to you, yes.
I don't even know what that means.
I mean, 1777 is not a long time to have democracy. That's quite late to the party.
I mean, it could be argued you're still not really a democratic nation. I mean, you have a queen. Like that's,
Yeah, but you have the Congress thing. Not the Congress.
Well, that we elect.
No. The super people that do all of your voting for you.
Yeah, the
electoral college. Thank you. Yeah, that is not democracy. That is not democracy. That is
literally democracy. They represent literally the people who voted.
That is the biggest where the people willies win. That is just, why does Florida get so many damn votes?
Say you don't understand the electoral college without saying you don't understand the electoral college.
No, I do. So each state has certain amount of votes depending on
what? Depending on how many people. And that's what democracy is.
We have less fringe groups. Well, now we have more of them. But like in the Congress, because there's only like supposedly two parties that are supposed to rein in like radicalism, which they have been doing unsuccessfully in recent history. I will be honest about that. But like a far right party just kind of exists in your government, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's just there all the time.
They'll have 3 seats and be able to do nothing, whereas you guys just morph it into your actual party.
It's the worst. I hate
incredible.
the two-party system.
Yeah. It stifles, it takes the worst out of things. Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Newsflash. It's always going to be run by people.
Yeah, and people disagree.
People are problems.
Yes.
Man, is there a lot of political stuff going on right now. And it's valuable for me to conceptualize those things, think about those things, process how I feel about them, all those kind of things. But it blows my mind how much we feel like government and politics is the solution.
Yeah.
The solution is ground level. The solution is the reason marijuana will be legal in the United States of America is not because of some political movement. It is because people talk to other people and said, "Hey, have you tried gummies?"
It's quite nice. I don't feel pain right now.
Welcome to Politics Cast.
Behind the politics. Behind the Senate. There we go.
How quickly would we lose audience if we change the title of this podcast to Behind the Senate?
Oh my God, it would be so quick. I will push back against the monarchy because the monarchy doesn't do anything in this country. We do not have a great democracy at all, but the monarchy is not a part of our government.
No. And it really to me feels like it literally will not be a part of your government in the next 50 years.
Next 50 years, I would imagine there will not be a
There's going to be
king
some
queen of England.
Major discomes when she dies. When
100%.
she dies, there are going to be some major discussions.
Especially with Charles being as wackadoodle as he is. William is the best option. So it might just be that William and Kate are the last king and queen of England. And they just stop because guess what? All of them are coming to a point now where they're like, maybe this isn't the best thing for my kids.
Right.
Like, completely selfishly, which is great. Like, I can't believe the monarchy being selfish is actually the best thing for the country. Like, look after your own people and stop being in this figurehead position that doesn't do anything.
To think of the amazing conversations that stem from American gladiators,
right?
You know, which, as we've discovered and is most important and germane to this conversation, came before the UK version.
Exactly.
Just called Gladiators.
No. Well, technically, we let you have independence and then you created the Gladiators. Still English.
You know how we should settle this debate? In a big obstacle course.
Yes, with pugil sticks.
Yes. Daniel, how you doing, man? How's life?
I'm hanging in there. I went to that concert on Wednesday and I pretty much fell asleep towards the end of it.
So was it a sit-down concert?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a mosh pit and you just fell asleep in the middle of it.
Daniel's just bouncing back and forth in slumber in the mosh pit.
Crowd surfed across.
Yes.
It was Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, very jealous.
But I didn't realize this until I got there. It's called his Vanity Tour, and he's only playing original songs.
Oh,
no.
Interesting.
I mean, great.
Wow,
And
what a bold move by Weird Al.
Oh, that sucks. I'm so sorry, Daniel.
Well, that's kind of I saw him. Pandemic brain. How many years ago?
7 years ago.
I saw him. I think about a year before the pandemic. So do the math.
4 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
And it was fabulous. Did all the great parody songs that he's known for.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'll take this. Don't worry. There we go.
Yes.
For the listeners, I just removed Aaron from the stream for being an epic troll.
I've lost your audio though now, Ian.
Oh no, my audio is linked to it. Oh no.
Now it's just my show.
The Daniel show.
This is the problem, Ian.
Dang it.
When you take me out of the picture, your audio goes as well.
Have you seen UFC, Daniel? Not UFC. UHF. Close.
Those are very different things.
Yes, I have.
Yay! What a movie. Saw it for the first time 3 weeks. When was the pandemic? Time is. I think it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. It may have been like a month and a half ago.
It could have been.
These last 3 months have gone really fast.
That's a great film. I enjoyed that.
I liked it a lot more than I expected to.
Strangely enough, there's a few things that are like a little bit cringe.
Supplies.
Yeah. Like especially some of the Asian stuff, but but for the most part, it holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
On that level, on the humor level, I think it holds up really well. Just
I think
because
it's hilarious.
It's so uniquely Weird Al, you know.
Who gave him the money to do that? It's crazy.
Isn't that kind of though, like you were saying, like some of it like Daz and Angel, isn't that just like kind of a lot of comedy, because that was like in the 80s that came out, and it's just like just like things just change, right? So I mean, it's interesting to think about the idea of appropriation, kind of how we've come to conceptualize it and enact it in our lives. And I think we've always I say always, I mean, from my lifetime, it has been understood that things like blackface, those kind of things are wrong, inappropriate. They're fairly recent in our, obviously in our entertainment history, and even more recent in people's practice history. But we understood why that was, why that was offensive, those kind of things.
We hope.
But we didn't conceptualize that to have to do with taking something from a culture, making it our own, and then, you know, making money off of it or whatever. And then that brought it into, well, just don't appropriate culture in your day-to-day life. So, for instance, I have pictures of me with braided hair. I don't remember if it was specifically cornrows or if it was...
I've seen the picture. I think it is.
I think it's cornrows.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
Loved it. I really loved it, but I don't remember loving it because it was a different culture. I remember loving it because I liked the way my head looked when my hair was, you know, braided like that. But now, is that picture problematic, right? Like, is it, you know, so you kind of try to think of those things, and in comedy, like, comedy has always been about those lines in trying to figure out where they are. And now that we conceptualize them differently, you look back at comedy from the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, and you go, certainly wouldn't make that joke today.
Some of Friends really doesn't hold up, especially some of the strangest thing about Friends was how they still saw gay as being icky, despite Ross's wife, ex-wife, having a wife. As like, you started off the show like with a great precedent, and then
it's because we didn't understand
later on.
We didn't understand the idea of gay panic, right? The idea that is also offensive. Like, it's like the not that there's anything wrong with that joke in Seinfeld, or that was Seinfeld, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Sounds right.
The idea that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm still grossed out by it or still weirded out by it. Yeah, that's another thing we've, you know, have just more recently in our history started to conceptualize. So,
well, what do you think with like you're pointing out the issue, like in Friends, like how like they present it in one way and then they say it's icky in another way. Do you think that at all at that period of time that kind of serves as a better mirror of like society in like an artistic way, as opposed to now where people are a bit more, you know, worried about being offensive?
Yes, I really do think there's a balance to all of this, and there will continue to be, you know, waves and shifts as we. The problem is, especially when we deal with race in America, like I have to tell white-splain this to you, Daniel. But
by all means.
Wow, let's go.
Please do.
Yes, Daniel, let me tell you about the problem with race in America. Shall I go there?
Man,
I don't even remember what I was going to say now. But what I think what I was going to say, at least from my perspective, is because we, as a culture, as a privileged culture, thought that we were kind of past some of this stuff. So when I was growing up, what my parents told me is race is not an issue. Like, we don't treat people differently because of their race. And so in my mind, it was over, like it was quote unquote over. But you know, and other people of color know, it ain't over. Like, you know, it's still built into so much of our culture and so much of our society. And so learning that lesson was really interesting to me over the last 10 years. That the progress that I thought our culture had made was just something we told ourselves from a place of privilege. And so until that really is ground level fixed or rooted out or really dealt with and faced, it's hard to laugh about the other. It's hard to treat each other like, you know, buddy, I can joke with you about your race, when that's a real painful part of modern, you know, life. So yeah. So did I do okay?
I think we'll find out in the edit.
That's right.
Yeah, I think you did a great job there. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, you're probably still canceled, but I think you did a great job first. I think that established itself in the psyche in a way of feeling like we're closer to like solving it, and like even going through like the civil rights era and stuff. Like, a lot of the more visible and like very public displays of racism occurred in the South. So like, I would see it as people not having to really challenge themselves, like sort of just being like, oh, at least we're not as bad as some other group.
Right.
Yeah, when that barrier is so low.
Yeah. So like when it comes, like we arrive at like modern times with like social media and all this ability to see what's going on in different places and like getting people's like real-time reactions to everything, you just sort of, it's a shock that like the world isn't like, the needle hasn't moved as far as you may have thought it did.
Bingo.
And you realize that like it's it's not just like one place. There's like it's like a big bell curve, and like some people are towards one end, and then some people are towards the other, and the majority are somewhere in the middle. But you don't. It's further back than you might have thought.
Yeah.
There was a writing one of, well, I won't say what it is because it hasn't come out yet, but I found this absolutely hilarious outtake with it was for a character that was on the phone and like responding, and then the clip that would have fit perfectly in terms of like length of time and just general like outlandish departure from the actual TV show. What it was, I think it was Samuel Jackson in like Pulp Fiction, and like there's a scene where he's on the phone, and and like I laughed so hysterically when I saw this, but then at the same time I was like, we can't put that at the end, because like it will offend somebody. Like somebody will be offended, even though like that is so far from the intent, and it's more about Pulp Fiction and Samuel Jackson and putting that in this different context. It's not about race or anything, but I was just like, it's just,
but somebody will draw that connection.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I have completely stopped even using like response gifs like on Twitter from people of color, just because there's a level of appropriation there too, where it's like, because when you use a response gif, it's like, I'm this person, kind of thing.
This is what I'm saying.
And I don't know if that's too far. I don't know if I'm being too sensitive, but I remember somebody saying something about it, and I was like, oh, well, I don't want to come off that way. So it's interesting, right? Like, these are the questions we ask ourselves. And I think there's also this tendency not to talk about it because we don't want to,
Well, I just started and then stopped myself because I'm not sure I'm the one to have an opinion on it. But me personally, I will never stop using Samuel L. Jackson gifs, because some of his reactions just transcend comedy. It's just hilarious. But I totally see where you're coming from.
I just stopped. I was just like, I don't want anyone to feel that way. That there's some sort of element of minstrelsism to some of those animated GIFs on Twitter. I think we're all just trying to do, I hope we're all just trying to do our best not to hurt each other and to be respectful of, real life, real world pain. And when you're in the business of comedy, that becomes an interesting balance and an interesting thing to try to figure out. Because laughter is great, man. Laughter is so much fun, and it really can heal. It really is one of those things that can bring us together and not separate us. So it's interesting that a lot of the things that do separate us are keeping us from laughing about those things. So there are deep conversations to be had about it, for sure.
What I realized over probably very recently in history is just that I think it comes down to context, that we don't all have a shared context behind the joke. Like it's not so much the joke itself, but it's like the context from which the joke comes from. What you're seeing in it is completely different than what the other person is seeing it, because they haven't lived your life experience, or they just they don't know you in that way, right? And it's like sort of like communicating on that scale of like of Twitter is like, it's the shared context of Twitter. And I don't know if that is even a thing.
Well, that is exactly why having those discussions on Twitter and Facebook is a dumb, pointless idea.
It's just a bad place to have that conversation.
Context.
Yeah.
Like, you could maybe not even read the original post and then weigh in on the damn conversation. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. So we solved race in America. So what's next?
We solved the monarchy as well.
We solved the monarchy.
Democracy. And most importantly, which gladiator came first?
Gladiators came first.
Yeah. But the most important point, Daniel, is that I don't know if you've been here to weigh in on the GIF conversation, which is
what do you say?
Long-running BTS thing.
I'd probably say it both ways, depending upon the day.
Good. It's really interesting because I get painted with the GIF brush because I say GIF, and I think I have logical reasons to say it that way.
Totally logical, yeah.
But I also, I think, always say, I think GIF is going to win. And language is what people say it is. It's interesting because a lot of style guides for like a lot of the content companies say GIF.
Of course.
Like, this is how we're going to say it. But the people say GIF by and large because it stands for graphics, and they think that's, a good reason that it should be GIF. And that's going to win then. Like, that's just how it's going to go.
It's just an easier thing to say. G is easier to do than J.
Well, I don't know about that, but
oh no, it completely,
but maybe
totally is.
GIF. Yeah, there's more mouth movement with the J. Yeah, that's true. Listen, and you may be right about that. It may be level of ease too.
I just use GIF because GIF just reminds me of the peanut butter.
And how dare words mean two separate things?
Nope, can't happen.
Can't happen. No.
I have rules about peanut butter, guys.
That's right, as you should. As you should. Ian, can we talk before we officially start the show?
Yes.
With our can we talk with our live audience about me diagnosing you? Is that
Yeah, I was going to bring it up if you didn't. Yeah. So I woke up one morning and was perfectly fine, and then 7 hours into that day, Aaron Dice had diagnosed me with a chronic condition that I genuinely have, that I didn't realise impacts my life. Hand on heart, honestly.
This has been brewing for a while because, I don't know, a few weeks ago I learned, you told me I've never belched in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what?
Never burped.
Who never burps? And you're like, yeah, I don't burp. I hiccup a lot, but I don't,
And the shocking thing to me was that it was shocking. I just thought, not everyone burps. It's not that common.
Right.
But it is.
But burping is, yes, generally pretty common. Most people do it. I love that your thought, I think you said your thought on this was that people either burped a lot to get rid of gas or just farted a lot to get rid of gas. You're one of those two kind of people, probably about 50-50 in the world. A lot of people fart a lot, a lot of people burp a lot.
And I'm the latter in this case. That's
interesting.
Happens.
So then there was kind of this moment just a couple days ago where I was just like, that is such an interesting thing. I want to know if other people have experienced it. Mm-hmm. So I did a quick Google search for never burp.
In the middle of our workday.
In the middle of our workday.
What Aaron is doing. It's unbelievable. Cannot let this go. I let this go so quickly, and it's just been bugging him. It's like in Don't Look Up, which is like, I don't understand why he would take the money for the treats.
I have diagnosed myself as a super taster in much the same way. My life was just kind of a little bit different than most people's. It seemed like I liked different types of foods, whatever. And so I did a Google search at one point and realized I'm actually a super taster. I have twice as many taste buds as the normal person. This is an actual thing, about 10% of the population. So that stuff is always interesting me. So I was like, I wonder if this is a thing. So I Googled never burp, but hiccup a lot. And boom, there was a Reddit.
Unbelievable.
There was a Reddit sub called R No Burp with 20,000 members. All right, so this is something. So I start reading through the Reddit thread, and person after person is going, my surgery is scheduled for 3 weeks from now. I'm getting my surgery in 2 weeks, and I'm like, sir, like, what is this thing? This is a legitimate condition called RCPD, where a muscle in the esophagus does not expand in certain people to allow gas to come through. And so any gas in the body has to be expelled other ways. It can be, there's discomfort involved when you drink or eat things that create any kind of, like carbonated beverages. Ian has since said after the diagnosis that he can't have more than a couple beers because it gets a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I either get extremely painful hiccups or very, very, very gassy.
Yeah. And so it comes out in a lot of people as painful hiccups. And so there's a procedure that relaxes this muscle and allows gas to escape that all these people are happening. And Ian's just going, what? This is like, I have a condition?
It's unreal. And I don't want to belittle it because I'm sure as much as my case, as much as mine is mild and doesn't really affect me day to day, it sounds like it is extremely painful for some people. Like it is a genuine thing that fortunately I just have mild symptoms of. It's an insane way to get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So you just fart all the time? Like, you're just farting
right
a
now.
lot?
Yeah.
This very moment.
This room is terrible to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like incredibly uncomfortable. Thinking of like all the times I do burp and I was like, oh, I feel better.
Yeah, no, I've never
like,
had
you just never feel better.
I have never felt better.
Terrible.
It's a nice chill song.
I like it.
Man, where's my favorite part? I wonder if cutting this down to 3 minutes took out my favorite part.
Oh no.
There's a part where it goes into, there's like this beep, 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 beep. At the top, it's really interesting. I like it. Anyways.
I tend to remember that.
It feels like a club beat at that point, but it sounds like that part got taken out. No. Is it right here? Drop the beat. Yeah, let's get it. Come on.
That's the one.
It's the one. It's the minute mark.
Yeah, I like it.
Not quite there.
No.
This was close.